land. Hello, Comic Chat Authority, and hello there. I am Frank James Bailey. I am a voice actor, comic book writer, author, published author. I do all sorts of stuff.
Yep. Sometimes a dancer.
Sometimes a dancer too, but not too often. But I have a YouTube channel, so I also do cartoon reviews on YouTube. I also plug myself on YouTube and that kind of stuff. And I got a Kickstarter coming up, for Olivia the Mighty Kraken novels. That's the big, Kickstarter I'm having this year anyway. Last year was Turkana, and I'm doing the novels this time. And I think maybe like next year I'll do Turkana again. So
these are actual books. These aren't.
Yes, that's the one thing I wanted to make clear, because I know you're Comic Chat Authority, and I do still do comics. I still do the Turkana comic book series. I still write for comics, but these particular things, I thought it'd be a lot more expensive if I hired an artist to do a lot of artwork for a comic book. Plus, it would all the things I had in mind for this, it would take a lot more time and a lot more energy and a lot more money to turn it into comic books. It would look a lot better, but it would take a lot more time and a lot more money. So I did hire somebody named Torres, Robert Torres. He's from Brazil, and I hired him to make my special cover to The Taming of April. The special cover I did just for a limited time, and I only have like 4 of those left. But he did such a great job with the special cover that I thought, I'm going to hire him again to do the special cover for this. I want to keep my Turkana artist as the Turkana artist. Mm-hmm. So I want to keep him doing that. So I hire other artists for other projects so people know that there's different artists and different variations and stuff. So I hired Robert to do this artwork for Olivia the Mighty Kraken novels. And the artwork basically is the 3 covers, because there's 3 books. There's Olivia the Queen Bee, Olivia the Tower, and then Olivia the Mighty Kraken. And the last one is bigger than the other 2 because that's who mainly she is. Consider it, I'm not a super huge fan when it comes to wrestling, okay? I mean, I know about wrestling, and I like wrestling, and I know I'm not saying I know every single bit aspect of wrestling, but I know quite a bit of, how do I put this? I know enough, and I do watch it sometimes. Don't watch it religiously. You know what I mean? There's just people who love wrestling. They watch it religiously. Anyway, I know that a lot of wrestlers change their names sometimes. Because I think Andre the Giant wasn't Andre the Giant when he first came out. I think Hulk Hogan wasn't first. He wasn't Hulk Hogan first. The one person I know who wasn't his name is first. There was Rhea Ripley. She wasn't Rhea Ripley at first. She was somebody. Well, she was blonde and she went by a different name, I think. But now she's like has slick back hair. She has tattoos and she's who she is. So that was the idea behind these books. Originally, when I wrote it last summer, it was 1 book. And she had 3 different names. And I was like, look, 350 pages. I'm just going to divide this up. So when I divided it up, the first book is like maybe 215 pages. And it's called Olivia the Queen Bee, because that's how she starts off. She's the Queen Bee when she works at this bar. The second one, she's Olivia the Tower, because she's trying to think of a better name than the Queen. She hated the Queen Bee. She hated that name. So she goes by Olivia the Tower. And by the middle of that book, toward the end, her sort of manager, or the guy who found her, tells her about why he thinks Olivia the Mighty Kraken is the better name. And she's like, why? I like that name. Then after that, she goes by that name. But I'm putting there's a video on YouTube where I talk about how I came up with the idea. It's on my YouTube channel. It's just easy to find. Go to Frank James Bailey. Anyway, the YouTube video basically explains the same thing I'm going to tell you. Okay. It starts off with a guy named Jackson Anderson. He's kind of similar to, how to put this, Jerry Maguire. Remember the movie Jerry Maguire with Tom Cruise? He's similar to that. He's a sports agent. He works for a very small town. Well, he works in Indianapolis, Indiana. He works for like a small town sports agency. He's mainly into female wrestling, because female wrestling is like the biggest thing right now. So he's into female wrestling. He loves female wrestling, but he knows a lot about other wrestling and stuff too. But that's his main focus. So he's getting married soon. That's the first chapter of the first book. You really realize he's getting married soon, and his people at work want to take him to a bachelor party. Okay, so then I focus on Olivia, and I tell you part of her story and stuff. Well, Olivia, her mom's in prison. Her dad is been gone. He's dead. and they have like an aunt they don't really talk to because she's a real Karen. Matter of fact, her name is Karen. She's a real Karen. So Olivia's 6'6", and her sister wants to work at the strip bar. But her sister's underage. This guy who's at the strip bar tells her, hey, I can get you a fake ID. You can come to work for me. But the thing it is, the guy who owns that bar, the bar is called the Rat Hole. And it's literally a hole in the ground, like an old bunker, like a bomb bunker turned into a bar. So it's literally a hole in the ground bar.
That's
a great idea for a bar, huh?
Yeah.
But he has it as a strip bar, like girls go there, they take their clothes off and stuff. Well, Olivia wants nothing to do with that. She wants to keep an eye on her sister. Okay, she'll probably make more money than Walmart. So Olivia becomes the bouncer. She's respected as the bouncer. Nobody messes with her. She's 6'6". She's the bouncer. Until one day she hits a deer with her vehicle, and now she needs money. So the owner of the bar tells her, how about we're gonna have like mud and oil wrestling, because that's what kind of bars do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she tells them there's 3 rules. Listen, I'm not getting naked in this bar. She tells her I'm always wearing a one-piece suit. I'm always only going to treat it like a real wrestling match. And if any of these other girls try to rip my clothes off, like you see that in other bars like that, I'm going to beat the living crap out of them. So lo and behold, getting back to Jackson, he has his bachelor party. And it just so happens he has his bachelor party on a night where she's wrestling. So, and it just so happens the guy who's the owner of the bar, I named him Frank Gambini, so it's sort of named after me. I'm not him, though. I just named him after Frank. But anyway, Frank, he's a sleazeball. So he pays another girl, hey, listen, man, I want to see her, top half, So he pays another girl to try and rip, Olivia's clothes up. It didn't go well. So the people who've been beta readers for my books have told me that I'm really describing the wrestling matches very well. It's like, yeah, there's conversations and stuff, but it's like I'm really I'm describing her beating the crap out of this girl. And of course, Jackson, it's his bachelor party, so he's sitting back and he's watching this, and he sees a star. He sees like, oh my God, you're like the next Queen Kong. Then you're the next, Andre the Giant, or your girl. Oh my God, he sees a star. And his soon-to-be wife is kind of like hippie-like. She's kind of clairvoyant. Listen, I think the universe is going to work in your favor. Well, what do guys do when they go to a bar like that? After that, they usually go out to breakfast, right? Well, just so happens they go out to breakfast, and it's a small-town place, and Olivia goes out to breakfast because her sister is at home doing something. So she goes there, and it just so happens that he's there, and he sees her coming in. He's like, okay, the universe is telling me I got to talk to this girl. So he talks to her, and that's basically the sort of start to the first book. That's how he tells her, listen, I know you were doing oil wrestling in that bar and stuff, but it's like, you could be a professional wrestler. You could be great. And he sort of convinced her, and that's where she trains, and that's where she figures out how to, do these different moves and stuff. And that's generally the first book. And then the second book is kind of like, she's kind of learning to do better moves. She's learning to wrestle different people, and she wrestles. And there's a former wrestler in the book named Heather. She doesn't wrestle anymore because she injured herself a little bit. But it just so happens that Heather is kind of like guiding her a little bit and telling her what to eat. And of course, when you see the pictures that I post in the Kickstarter, you'll see like the one, she's wearing yellow stripe on the side, and that's where she kind of gets her start. And then the next picture, she's kind of like really tall. She's looking down. She's a little muscly. But by the third book, she has pink hair. She has this big muscles on her side. And by the third book, she's like 250 pounds. She's real tall. She's muscly. I mean, like I said, by the third book, she's wrestling different people. And she's going on this journey trying to be the world's best wrestler without actually selling her soul to do it. She's all about trying to do real wrestling, because sometimes in the WWE, sometimes it's staged, sometimes so obviously the people out there who are wrestlers are going to say, well, no, it's they do a lot of real wrestling. I'm sure they do, but it's like when you see somebody doing a flip, it's like, why aren't you trying to get out of that? You could, but it's entertaining. I get it. It's entertaining, So there's this in the books. There's this agency called I forget anyway. The agency is owned by Tony D'Angelo, and it just so happens it's Frank's sister. So kind of similar to the WWE, only this agency is only for female wrestlers, and she's like the top, number 3 female. And they have these big, events everywhere else, and they go to places. But one thing about Olivia is she's trying to remain independent, but she wants to get signed, and then that's what's in the second book. This agency wants to sign her, and she finds out, you're doing a bunch of fake wrestling stuff. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then she goes out and she tries to, I don't know. She basically tries to be the best wrestler she can, going to different events, getting paid more and more as she goes. And, things happen in her life. Like I said, her sister still works in that strip bar. And of course, her sister goes down a dark path. But, she's the older sister. Does she stay to try to guide her? Or she does, so there's real life situations in it and real life things. I like great character development. I like great characters. So that's why I tried to write it the way I did. Yeah, there's great wrestling in it, and that's who she is, and that's who she wants to become. But there's also great characters in it too. Like I said, she has these problems with her own family. Like her mom's in jail, and she goes to visit her mom in prison sometimes. And her mom's always like, "So what happened to your sister? What's going on with her?" It's like, I'm a professional wrestler, her mom, but her mom actually likes the younger sister better, which is. Sometimes that happens, right?
Yeah. Is all 3 books done, or?
I'll put it this way: the first 2 are definitely done. The third book needs a little tweaking yet. But
okay.
My whole idea is that I'm gonna be finished with the third book probably by the time the Kickstarter is over. So I'm giving, just like the Turkana comic book Kickstarter, like I did last year. I gave myself until October of the end of the year to have everybody get their books and all the Kickstarter stuff out there. I managed to get them all out by June. Nice. So even though my deadline is probably October or November, my goal is to get it out by the June or July. So it gives me a little bit of wiggle room to have that third book done and then get them all out.
Is this your first, I guess, graphic novel ever?
Well, like I said, it's not a graphic novel; it's a novel. It's like like Harry Potter. Well,
yeah.
That's why I named it Olivia the Queen Bee. Olivia the top. They're all kind of similar titles to like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter and this.
Right.
So she becomes these 3 different. Well, it's the same woman. It's just she becomes these 3 different names. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of similar to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. It's the same Harry Potter. It's just different stories.
Is this your first real book that you've ever wrote?
Actually, no. I mentioned a second ago that I wrote the romantic comedy book called The Taming of April. And then I did that a couple of years ago, but I published it officially last year. And matter of fact, I had it when I first Comic-Con. Matter of fact, I did 2 covers for it. I did have my artist for Turkana do 1 cover. And I liked it, but I had this other guy named Robert Torres do the other cover, which on the Kickstarter, you'll notice that I'm making available a digital version of The Taming of April because I've never had a digital version of it before. So now, even though this is for Olivia and this is for the wrestling books, I'm going to make that because these are novels, and that was a novel too. So, and then somebody told me, and I haven't done this yet, I might add this, but somebody told me, you should add the comics to it too. Because what if somebody wants everything you ever want, that you've ever written? Oh, okay, maybe I'll add that too.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of other people who do Kickstarters. What they do is they add what they call it when you're checking out and you have these things you can add on. I forget what they're called. Add-ons. Yes, thank you. Duh. But yeah, so the comics and the other books could be add-ons. In case you wrote that too. But my goal. What's that?
It'd be a great way to upsell.
Exactly. Yeah. My goal for this Kickstarter is only 500 like it was last year. But last year I had around, I think around 70 followers, maybe 80 followers when I first started. Man, when I started this one, I had over 115, 120 followers. So that was fantastic. So that's really good. And I'm hoping that it gets funded right away. That's what I'm hoping for. So,
which one is more challenging, a novel or a comic book?
Well, it depends, because for a long time I was writing the Turkana series as books. I wrote them as illustrated novels, and I still have those available on Amazon.com, and I take them with me to Comic-Cons. But they're not selling as well as the comics. So I changed the comics, and then realized, that's kind of like writing a screenplay. Because you're writing, okay, the scene here, then you write this person, talks, and this person talks, and the next scene is this, and the next panel is this. It's kind of like writing a screenplay. So that came easy to me. What I love about writing novels is trying to get really descriptive about what somebody is doing and how to describe the scene. Because there's a couple things in the Olivia books that I've described it the way it is, and it's I can really picture that, because you're trying to describe the scene to somebody without actually visually seeing it. So, I mean, especially when it described the bar that's a underground bar,
Right? Yeah.
You got to go under the steps, and there's the bouncer there, and then you go into it. It's like there's no windows and nothing,
When does the audiobook come out for it?
Well, I for what, Olivia, or for these?
Both.
Well, I haven't really worked on an audiobook for them yet, because the thing about these particular books for Olivia the Mighty Kraken and for the Taming of April book, they're told in a first-person perspective. In other words, let's just say the Olivia is the person talking. Well, she's the one telling you that particular chapter. I do believe the Game of Thrones is kind of told the same way.
Okay.
They had different characters telling you their part of the story. So I kind of worked with that. So you got Jackson telling you his part of the story and where he come from and what he does. And then he sees some, hey, my friends want to take me here. Then it's, Olivia telling her part of the story. And then she goes to visit her mom in prison. And then the next chapter after that, her mom is telling you her part of the story. It's like, oh my God, I've been in prison for so long. So it's kind of hard to get an audiobook of that when there's like, I probably need like 5 different people to voice that particular part,
I was just thinking that would get expensive really quick.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if you could do that, it'd be fun to hear, because then you have these particular characters talking for those particular chapters,
I think I hear a future Kickstarter coming.
There you go. Well, my thinking is this. If this Kickstarter works well, if it does well, and I'm hoping and crossing my fingers it does, because I've had a couple of people tell me, oh, yeah, we're wrestling fans. Why didn't you tell me about this? Okay, well, it's there.
Yeah.
And I told them the same thing, too. It's like, listen, they're not comics. They're novels. It's like, I'd love reading about wrestling. Okay. Anyway, so, yeah, if this works out well, and it turns out the stretch goals really well, too, then, yeah, maybe I'll do another Kickstarter next year where I can get money to do the audiobook version, because that would be fantastic. I have to hire like 4 different people for it, but still, that'd be really good.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of podcasts and audiobooks when I'm working, and it's the new thing. Like, I think more people listen to podcasts than they do any other thing while working.
Yeah, no more radio then, because
right.
I'm an ex-radio jock.
They play like the same 6 songs every hour. Yeah. It's just so 20 minutes goes quick. What do you want to do? Is there anything you want to say before we go?
Well, like I said before, people can find me on YouTube, which I'm easy to find. Just go to YouTube and put in Frank James Bailey. I have probably close to 900 subscribers. I'm hoping to get to 1,000 soon, because once I get to 1,000, then I can work on the next thing, which is getting more views. And once I get 1,000 subscribers and more views, you know all about this, then you can get paid for your videos.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I figured one step at a time, though. So it's like I got shorts, I got YouTube videos up and stuff. But yeah, I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok. Again, look for Frank James Bailey. I'm on this new one called Threads. That's another one. I'm on Instagram. Again, Frank James Bailey. It's really easy to find. Matter of fact, if you Google Frank James Bailey, you'll be able to find me. I'm pretty simple to find.
Yep. What about X?
What's that?
X. Are you on Twitter?
Oh, yeah, I'm on X too. I don't interact as much as I used to on that one. I did this morning because I was up early, and there's a lot of people on X or the old Twitter who are writers, and they have like, hey, it's a promote yourself day or something like that. So then I kind of promote my Kickstarter or whatever book I'm writing, and I follow a lot of other writers there. But I try not to sort of hang out as much on that one, because there's not a lot of, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And as soon as I start rambling about, oh yeah, in the Olivia book, she's dating another girl because she was from former wrestler and blah blah. It's like, oh my god, it's so you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
I'm doing a Kickstarter for wrestling books. I try not to mention it that much, but yeah, in the book, she ends up dating another girl, and they have a good relationship together. And the one girl, her name is Heather. She has an ex-husband, and they have a daughter. Well, the ex-husband kind of beat her up a little bit. So the daughter is like, who's this tall girl? She's like our new mom now. Because if my dad wants to beat me up, I'll just chuck her after her. Right. And the daughter his name is Becca, and she's real sassy.
Okay.
She's 11, 12 years old, but it's like, there are some people who are that age are kind of sassy and they kind of like, hit smart ass remarks. But I love when I read her talk, and because one time Olivia is like, just getting this done. She's done with her workout, and she's, hey, I'll meet you at the restaurant. I gotta go take a shower. And her Brecca's like, I think my mom needs a cold shower too. They're watching. Would you shut up? Right. That kind of stuff. Because he knows her mom likes her, but she makes you smart ass remarks like that. Like they're at this restaurant, and Olivia walks away, and her daughter gives her a napkin. And is like, what's this for? It's for your drool. Would you just stop? Those kind of sassy remarks the daughter's making.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, everybody has their own little, quirks and stuff, and Olivia does that, and of course, Olivia's sister is the drug addict stuff, but not drug, but she works at a strip bar. She's trying to get her out of that, that kind of thing. But yeah, if you want to support the Kickstarter, go to Kickstarter.com. Look for Olivia the Mighty Kraken. That's Olivia the Mighty Kraken. And if you love wrestling, you're going to like these books. Again, they're novels, not comics. I know you're Comicchatauthority, yep. But I'm pretty sure if you love wrestling, you're going to love the books.
All right. Thank you for taking the time to come talk with me.
No problem. I love talking to you, man.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah. We'll talk soon, all right?
All right, no problem.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comicchatauthority? Oh, come on. Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.